Hello, welcome to today's yoga teachings. In this session, we are focusing on sharing a purification technique known as Shanka Prakshalana. This is a cleansing technique, a purification technique that helps to cleanse the entire tract of the large and small intestine. Now, we know that in the West, there's a way to cleanse the intestine with enemas and with colonics, but this only touches part of the tract. And this yoga technique is actually something that cleanses the whole tract and brings greater balance to the whole digestive system and elimination process. Basically, it's just drinking salt water, and then you drink enough and do some exercises, and that pushes the water through the system, and you keep drinking that water until you flush the entire intestinal tract. Very healthy, and because, as we know, many impurities can build up in this intestinal tract over the years. Even if you have a great diet, things get stuck because it's very convoluted, we could say, tube that toxins get lodged in. So the idea is to be able to flush that 2 to 4 times a year. And I know from my own experience, it's been incredibly beneficial because it helps to release a lot of the excess heat from the body. It takes out these toxins that then can create other health issues. It even brings clarity to the mind, cleanses the eyes, the smell of the body, our breath. Everything gets impacted by this one purification process. It is rather intense. You need a whole day to do it. And to give you the instructions, what you do is you heat water, clean water, it has to be pure water, not tap water, to body temperature. And for each liter of water that you have, you put in a teaspoon of pure salt, sea salt or rock salt, nothing with iodine or no iodized salt, table salt. And then you take a cup of water and you drink it, and you do these 4 exercises that I'm going to demonstrate in a moment. And these exercises, as I said, squeeze the body in ways that pushes the water through. Now, it takes a few cups of water, and eventually that pressure builds and your belly gets more and more bloated. And if you're doing this alone, it can be a little challenging. So it's good to do it with a teacher or a friend who's done it before, or you and your friend can do it together. That sounds like a weird thing to do together, but it's very helpful to have moral support because it does get a little uncomfortable the first time. As you get bloated, you're not sure, you can even get a little bit of a headache and nausea. Now, as you build that pressure, eventually it's going to start pushing the material, the fecal matter and such, out through the system. So the first few times you go to the toilet, it's the solid waste material. And then each time you go, it gets a little bit more liquid, and eventually we say that the siphon opens and it starts to come out in a spray of water that comes out from the anus into the toilet. And that's when you've reached the point of opening that gateway that allows the real purification to happen. So it's important to do this on an empty stomach, of course, and the night before you do it, make sure you eat very light, just soup, nothing heavy for sure, because that will make it more difficult to do this process. And then there's a very specific diet that you have to eat leading up to the practice and after. Now, especially after is really important because it's like you have the intestines of a baby and you want to eat only things. The first meal is called khichdi, and you can look up the recipe on the internet and find how to make this. It's basically mung beans. It's a form of lentils or dal out of India, and it's very easy to digest. It has protein, and you add a tremendous amount of ghee, which is clarified butter, or you can use olive oil because you need to re-lubricate those intestines. That's very important. So we're going to give you in the description of this video some websites that you can go to find out the exact diet to have before and after. What I want to do now is plant the seed to help you understand that if we don't clean these intestines regularly, it leads to illness and it leads to lower forms of health. When we're all about yoga is stepping into the highest health. So I'd like you to understand that this is a really powerful practice, 2 to 4 times a year. It's easy to do. It only takes water and salt, so it's basically free. You don't have to go to anybody else to do the enema or the colonic, and it's cleaning the whole intestinal tract. I'm repeating myself so you get the message, but the point is clear. If you can do this, it brings balance not only to the intestines, everything that is connected. When you balance one system, it has an impact on the other systems as well. Now, there are 4 exercises that you do, or 5, depending on the teaching, and this helps to move the water through the system. After you drink a cup of water, you do the exercise. Drink a cup of water, you do the exercise. And then you start going to the bathroom, you come back, you drink a cup of water, you do the exercise, and you keep drinking until that water that's coming out of the anus is clear. Once that's done, you have to eat after your last cup of water within a half hour to an hour after your last cup of water that you drank, so that you then start to re-lubricate those intestines. It's incredibly important to follow the instructions for diet, okay? Especially leading up and after, you have to do it correctly. Because if you don't, you could damage yourself. And we're doing something here to purify yourself after all. So if you're really into doing this, make sure you do it right, is what I'm trying to say. Follow it to the letter. Because if you eat something that's not in the prescribed diet, it could create problems. And actually, you're in a very fragile state after having purified through this intense practice. And that day, you do it first thing in the morning, before eating anything. You can maybe have a little bit of water in the morning, and then you start the practice. And after that, you relax all day. It's tiring for sure. And the next day, you might still be a little tired. And after that, you start to feel the amazing benefits. So that day you don't do any strong physical practice, you don't do any work, so you need a whole day off. And typically I do it on a Sunday when I have some free time. And after you do it, you can lay down after, but do not fall asleep because that creates a headache. Very important. Don't let the body get cold at all. You don't even take a shower for a while. So just stay really warm. It's really good to do this at the change of seasons, 4 times a year if you can, at least twice a year. And the last thing is just to make sure that you are really sticking to the process. Okay, no shortcuts in this one because that could be really detrimental to the whole system. All right, so let me show you how to do the practice. You're gonna lift the hands up overhead, clasp the fingers together, and stand up here on the toes. Some people say you can walk around a little bit, and this helps to get things moving down through the system, through the intestines. You need to do this for just a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds to a minute maximum. After that, you're gonna stay here and you bend side to side, all the way to one side, then all the way to the other side, and you do that 4 to 6 times to each side for a total of 8 to 12 movements. So it's 1, 2, 3, etc. to 8 or 12. The next one is you bring the arms up and you very slowly look behind you, look to the hand. The left hand will go to the center of the chest, the right hand back, then you change to the other side. So all I'm doing is moving the body so that the pressure is moving the water through the intestines. And just as before, you do it 8 times, 1 to each side. You can do it 8 to 12 times. So it's 1, 2, etc. Okay? Now the next one we do, you have to come down onto the floor, come into the push-up pose, and you look over the shoulder to the heel, and as you do that, you twist the hips a little bit and sink the hips down a little bit. That's gonna help move the water deeper through the system. Then you do it to the other side, same thing. Look behind at the ankle or the heel behind you, twist the hips a little, and let the hips sink down. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 8 or 12. The final one, it can be easiest if you have a wall by you. And basically you want to get these legs to squeeze. I use a wall, you don't have to, you can do it without. You squeeze this lower part of the intestinal tract between the legs. I go 1, and then to the other side. So you want to go all the way to the side with the knee, and the legs are squeezing together as you do it. And you go side to side. Now, because I think it's just easier to do it this way, you can use a wall. 1, 2, 3, 4. So make sure that inner legs are squeezing together as you do this. You want to go all the way to the side and all the way to the other side. And you do that 8 to 12 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Then you drink another cup of water. Now the hard part is if you drink too fast, you can get nauseous. So make sure you don't drink too fast, but you want to keep drinking. What I do is just take the cup and I drink it down because it's salt water and it's not always tasty. After a while, drinking a lot of water, it takes several liters. Some people drink anywhere from 4 to 10 liters of water to get the whole system clean. But trust me, this is well worth the time invested. It's going to give you longer life and greater health through that long life. So I wish you all the luck with this practice. If you need any more information, check out the description below this video, and there'll be some links to websites that give you full instructions on diet. And if you have any questions, maybe you can let us know and we'll help guide you. Wishing you all the best with your practice.